Welcome to episode 58 of Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson.
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And today we're going to be talking about What's Eating Gilbert Grape? A film that I rewatched for this show. And oh boy, kind of boring. Kind of a boring film. I watched it when I was like a teenager, and of course I've always been a huge fan of Leo and used to be an even bigger fan of Johnny Depp than I am now. And this movie was cool to me as a teenager, but now I just, with the intentions of giving it awards, I realized just how kind of dull it is.
Yeah, this was my first time with this film, and I'd heard a lot of things over the years. I've heard that, this was the film that put Leo DiCaprio on the map, a great dramatic turn for Johnny Depp. And I never liked the title because the title always made it sound like either a kid's movie or a game show.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an odd title. And I feel like it's not a very well-written story. I mean, it's a story about a man who's really held back by his family, but never gets to have that moment of clarity where he's like, I need to be my own man, because situations, occur that kind of force him to make that decision anyway. Like, he never gets to make a decision for himself. The movie makes the decisions for him, and I don't like that. So it just felt like kind of aimless and pointless.
Extremely aimless. I love movies that are kind of just like a snippet of someone's life and observation. But with this, it feels like it's 1 foot in and 1 foot out the entire time.
Yeah.
It doesn't really go into the affair. It doesn't really dive into that. It doesn't really dive into his friendship with John C. Reilly's character. It doesn't really go into the Juliette Lewis dynamic. It like teases it. And then the stuff with the family is just so much that I think it's like trying to be this simple story about American life in the Midwest, and it's just kind of tough. But it doesn't have enough to kind of like relate to as a human being. It just kind of, like you said, kind of wanders. And it doesn't impress you with its kind of simplicity, nor does it impress you with its convoluted screenplay. Yeah, this is an interesting one. You and I, before we started recording, just looking at the 66th Academy Awards, What's Eating Gilbert Grape was only up for one award, and that's Leonardo DiCaprio for Best Supporting Actor. His first of many, award nominations and a bunch of recognition. He's awesome. He's just 46 years old, and it feels like he's been around forever. So we could have chosen so many different films. Obviously, Schindler's List wins Best Picture at the 66th Academy Awards. Awesome film, and definitely deserving of some recognition. We could do a really cool Best Picture showdown with these movies. The Remains of the Day, The Piano, and The Name of the Father, The Fugitive, Schindler's List. Really heavy movies, super serious movies, and there's just superstars everywhere. The Best Actor category is bonkers this year. It's Tom Hanks that wins for Philadelphia, Daniel Day-Lewis, Lawrence Fishburne, Anthony Hopkins, and Liam Neeson. Just really bonkers group. We could have taken this to a bunch of different angles, but doing Gilbert Grape, it just, for me, came back to, I knew you hadn't seen it, and it's Leo's first nomination. A super special guy, someone that just got a nomination recently in 2019 for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So kind of putting that final piece together, is always important to kind of watch all the nominations, especially when it's this guy in particular. No matter how bad the movie is, I think it is important to see. And Gilbert Grape, just to lay it out there, it's a strong, like, solid 7 for me. It's not a bad movie, but when you have this kind of a cast and you have, Peter Hedges, Lucas Hedges' dad, writing the screenplay, and you have Les Holstrom, director of Cider House Rules, a bunch of different movies, you expect a little bit more.
I had no clue that was Lucas Hedges' dad who wrote this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely going to be speaking a little bit about that later. A really cool father-son duo right there. They both have Oscar nominations, so pretty cool for way different things. It sucks, man. It sucks, man, when you you feel like, oh, I'm in for a hit here. You know, I'm in for a really good one. And when you're trying to pick out, you know, a favorite scene and a favorite performance and all these different things, a favorite quote from the movie, you're forced to really pay attention and try to gravitate towards stuff that you like. And with this, I felt it fell flat multiple times where I was like, where am I going with these awards, man? Yeah. I don't really know what to do.
Well, especially since, like, for me, you had mentioned that it's important to kind of clear off an actor's awards filmography, like see all their nominations. And since I was going to do that with Leo with this movie, I also felt I should do it for Depp. So I went ahead and I watched Finding Neverland as well. And
good.
That movie was vastly superior, had me sobbing. Like, I thought that movie was brilliant. And then I watched Gilbert Grape and I'm like, oh, damn.
Son of a.
Yeah, just a mediocre film at best that I think holds a lot of these actors back. Because there is a very interesting character study in here. I think the angle the screenwriter and director went is a weird one. I felt the same thing about Cider House Rules, so it might be this director.
Yes. Yeah, very well could be. It definitely has some puzzle pieces that are really strong and like could be cornerstones of a really strong film. It also has no business pushing that 2-hour runtime. No business. This should be like an hour and a half tops with what we're working with. You know, these movies, you know, like I think about a movie that I think nails it is like Little Miss Sunshine, you know, a movie just kind of like a drama like this about a family that's throwing in some humor here and there. I find that to be way more effective. And I think What's Eating Gilbert Grape is kind of in that category of this almost hangout family drama that just doesn't really grab you. And it's also lacking some performances in it. You know, I think some of the performers are just don't really know what to do. That's not the main stars, but most of the supporting cast, I felt like they just kind of fell flat.
Yeah, the entire Grape family are never really explored apart from just Gilbert and like Arnie and Mama. But his sisters, the brother who just left, you never find out anything else about him.
No, that's just it. Yeah.
And then his buddies, you know, Crispin Glover as a mortician. How do you not explore that? Can you get a more perfect meeting of actor and like character?
That was some of my favorite stuff this time watching it was when they're kind of discussing, you know, it's Crispin, John C. Reilly, and Johnny Depp sitting at a diner talking about whether this, you know, whether this man was like murdered or not, you know, with the kiddie pool. Fuck yeah. I wanted more of that stuff. I wanted that more explained. And then you have business going for 2 hours, you know, if you fill your runtime with stuff like that. Yeah. I think we're both kind of on the same page here with this one. Not totally disappointing. Glad we're doing it. As far as Leo's, we haven't really gotten to shout him out on this show on Oscar Sunday. And it's going to be fun to kind of go down his Oscar resume, but we got to start with the director. A guy that we have brought up not that long ago. It was on the I guess American Beauty episode when we did the 1999 films. He's of course the director of Cider House Rules. Lasse Hallström, he got a nomination for that. He's also nominated for Best Screenplay and Best Director for My Life as a Dog, 1985. So, you know, he's familiar with the Academy. But there's no way he was getting Best Director nominations here for What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
I'm looking at his filmography here. I've seen The 100-Foot Journey as well, and it has the exact same problem that these two films has. Excuse me, a lot of character, not a lot of work into the story, and a lot of just aimless plot lines that don't go anywhere. So I think it is the guy. Straight up, it's the guy.
And you look at what he's done, you know, like recently, like he directed Dear John, Safe Haven, A Dog's Purpose, like just no thanks, you know, stuff that's just not up my alley at all. Seems like in the 80s, he was a little bit more interesting, kind of doing different things, doing some music videos and whatnot. And this performance as a director in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, it definitely lacked. There were times where it's like, all right, that's obviously your job is to kind of get this thing on the right path. And there's multiple times where it just does not. It takes a weird turn, another weird turn, and then nothing to show for.
Well, I mean, how do you introduce an affair between Gilbert and Mary Steenburgen? Hint that the husband knows about it and wants, revenge. He turns up dead, and then it all goes away. There's no investigation. Nothing ever happens from that.
That's a whole movie. Yeah. That's a whole fucking movie. And this guy is clearly like a big deal. He within this town, within Endora, like he's clearly a big deal. So fuck yeah, there's going to be a whole ass investigation. They're going to figure out who spoke to him that day, who spoke to him that past week. Yeah. And there's nothing. That's a whole movie. I completely missed that the first time I watched this, like 10 years ago. This time I was definitely thrown off by that. Just wait, what? That's just way off.
It's insane. I mean, yeah, I get you want to showcase, this movie's about Gilbert and his decisions and his, love versus family thing he's got going on, but you can't bring that into the story and then just stop talking about it. That's lazy. And I think it mistreats the audience. So, yeah.
Bunch of bullshit. Sucks, man. It sucks. Yeah. I think we've found out that we're not very big fans of Hallstrom's. And I wouldn't have known that without the show.
But I do love that he does look like Bizarro Rutger Hauer. So he's got that.
Oh, yeah.
He's nice.
Yeah, his IMDb picture is fantastic. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Peter Hedges. He was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay for About a Boy, 2002. That's his only nomination. But the connection, he wrote Ben Is Back from 2-3 years ago, starring Lucas Hedges, his son. Dan in Real Life was written by him. Pieces of April, I've heard that's a really good movie. And What's Eating Gilbert Grape, of course. Kind of really interesting filmography. And he was born in Des Moines, Iowa. So obviously there's some stuff here with Endora, Iowa, this great family living just, in kind of everyday country, Midwest, mid-America. I like some of the stuff that's happening here. I think the relatability that Hedges has with this place, and it is a novel, so it's like he has a connection to all these things, and you can see that there is stuff there, from the beginning when Johnny Depp is narrating and speaking about this is my home, this is where I work. That's Foodland. We don't go there. This is where I work. Yeah. I really do connect with some of those things. There were some things. And then again, that scene at the diner I thought was fantastic. And I wanted to go on for 10 minutes, just them kind of bullshitting about this crazy thing that happened in their little town. There is stuff there. And I do like some of these other movies that he's written, but his son has totally stolen my heart as a performer the past few years. Just seems to kind of pop up in everything that I'm interested in, whether it be, Manchester by the Sea or Lady Bird or Waves or mid-90s, these different films. I find him to be American Honey he's in, playing Shia LaBeouf. I think he's like a breathtaking performer. I think he's someone to very much reckon with for the next 30, 40 years. He's going to be around. A lot of people I think are totally on the Timothée Chalamet train. But when it comes to kind of the young males, I would throw Saoirse Ronan in that group of these young female and males that are they're going to get a lot of nominations. Lucas Hedges is my favorite of that class, and I can't wait to see what he does at every turn. He's amazing. And the fact that his dad, wrote all these movies, and at one point I know he's in Dan in Real Life, Lucas Hedges, as a small kid. So that's really cool. He clearly was influenced by his dad being in the business, and then I want to try to do my own thing in it, leave my own imprint. And I think he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't hard for him to get, a few auditions early on in the early days. but he has definitely proven that he's got significant acting chops. I mean, he's already got an Oscar nomination. He's still in his 20s, I think.
Yeah. He's younger than both of us. Yeah.
Fucking hell, don't say that.
Yeah. He's a dude born in the 90s, in the late 90s, and he's in that class with Saoirse, Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya. Those people who are just look the fuck out. They're here already, and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's neat to kind of witness, now that we're paying attention to this kind of thing. It's neat to kind of point out like, oh, they're going to, we're going to see a lot of that person in the next 20, 30 years. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Think about, you and I would kill to be in a position where we could witness, oh, there's Jack Nicholson, Easy Rider. There he is in The Last Detail. There he is in Chinatown. There he is in One Flew Over. Oh my God, he's not going anywhere. And sure enough, for the next 30 years, he is right there. And to be in line with that is really special. And I definitely don't want to miss out on talent like that, And I think Lucas Hedges is a guy to root for, a guy to kind of watch out for. He's fantastic. We'll move on to a guy who's definitely a legend in his own right, and that's Johnny Depp. Oh boy. His career path is absolutely fascinating. Yeah. I think early on he was, doing stuff like Edward Scissorhands, right? And just challenging the hell out of himself. And he seemed to just kind of want to do that. It hasn't always been, oh, what's the role that could get me an Oscar, or what's the strangest and kind of most challenging thing I can do that's just kind of different from what I'm used to. And I think he at some point almost ran out of of like proper challenges. I think we've seen stuff happen in his personal life that is just really sucks and seems a bit unfair to him. But there's definitely been like a juice that's left for his performing, his talent, his skill. Because, as far as the Oscars go, he was nominated for Best Actor in a Lead Role, Pirates of the Caribbean, 2003, awesome role. He was nominated for Best Actor in Finding Neverland, 2004. And he was also nominated for Best Actor in a Lead Role, Sweeney Todd, 2007. So, there's a time where he was able to do both. He was able to capture all audiences. Sweeney Todd's a movie that people who are fans of it don't give a shit that it's up for Oscars, but you and I do because we care about this stuff. That's really cool that he has the capability to do that, to grab everybody's attention. I just don't think it's quite there anymore.
Yeah, I've thought about that for a long time. There was a time where Johnny Depp was both like the biggest movie star on the planet and my favorite actor. There was a time.
Yeah, just so bizarre. He was so original,
Yeah. Well, he got his start, completely by accident. He drove a friend to the Nightmare on Elm Street auditions, and Wes Craven's daughter saw him, thought he was hot, and told her dad. And Johnny Depp got an audition, ended up being the lead in Elm Street. And then from there, we got Johnny Depp. It's kind of amazing, and he has done some incredible work in his career. And somewhere along the line, around, I think, the second or third Pirates movie, he kind of got stuck in a Jack Sparrow bubble where he kept
That's fair.
He kept doing these wacky characters that just didn't stand out, Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows, The Lone Ranger. And a lot of those creative juices just kind of disappeared. And then this whole Amber Heard situation did not fucking help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But earlier this year, I saw City of Lies, which was the delayed Johnny Depp, Forrest Whitaker movie about the Biggie Smalls murder investigation. And that was fantastic. Totally underrated film. He was great. So he's still got it. And I really hope he gets a good comeback because the guy deserves it.
Yeah. He's awesome. I would love to just point out some movies and get your thoughts on it. I'll start with, you already mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm not a huge fan, but like you said, that's where he got to start. How about what he's doing in Edward Scissorhands? How about that? How about that performance?
Well, that was, the meeting of the minds, Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. And then from there, a partnership was made. And
Yeah.
I love Edward Scissorhands mainly because it's Vincent Price passing the weirdo torch to Johnny Depp, in my opinion.
Mm.
And he's so good in it. It's such an odd, like Cinderella meets Frankenstein kind of thing that's so endearing to so many people, and I get it. Yeah, fantastic film.
Yeah, great stuff. And like you said, with Tim Burton, immediately in 1994, you have Ed Wood. Just stellar movie. One that, would be pretty cool to do on this show, because you have Martin Landau won Best Supporting Actor. And I think I know you would know this, but I'm pretty sure Rick Baker worked on that movie.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. I know that's someone you respect.
It was Rick Baker. Yeah, good call.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And that was the only 2 nominations it got, I believe, and it won both. So really cool stuff. Nick of Time, Donnie Brasco, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, works with Terry Gilliam. Donnie Brasco, he's obviously going alongside one of the all-time greats, Al Pacino. Not a very easy thing to do, and I've liked that movie for a long time. It's not one of my favorite movies of that genre, but it is very entertaining. The Ninth Gate, Sleepy Hollow, Chocolat, Blow, Pirates of the Caribbean, Secret Window, Finding Neverland, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride, Parts of the Caribbean again, Sweeney Todd, Public Enemies, him and Christian Bale going at it. The Tourist, fucking Rango, one of my favorite animated movies ever. Then there's Parts of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. There's The Rum Diary. There's Dark Shadows, Lone Ranger, Transcendence. There's a clear thing here. Then there's Black Mass. He's unbelievable in Black Mass. Kind of surprised he didn't get an Oscar nomination there. And then it just gets kind of worse and worse as it goes, I think. Just has lost a bit of the touch, and like you said, the stuff with Amber Heard did not help at all with his kind of momentum. But there's gold there. There really is. There's awesome performances, and I feel as though all 3 of the ones that he got nominated for are truly great performances from him. Jack Sparrow, just the most memorable cinematic pirate ever is probably Jack Sparrow. You mentioned watching Finding Neverland. Like you said, it's just kind of a devastating movie. And Sweeney Todd, one of the more accepted and cool musicals and culture ever. I would say it's Tim Burton and Johnny Depp really at the peak of their powers, just like totally outside of their skin, just like, this is what we do, and it helps a lot that Helena Bonham Carter's right there as well. They're all just knocking out of the park in that movie. He's got a cool Oscar resume, 3 nominations. They're all kind of, they're really their own thing, and I really respect some of the stuff he's done.
Yeah, as do I. I've lost a bit of respect for Depp over the years. I think getting involved with Amber Heard was a huge fucking mistake. Thinking with his dick, fucked up a meaningful relationship that he had. And then the, distraction from all that got, it sabotaged his career a bit. He was doing, kind of going through the motions, but there, like you see in Black Mass, you see an actor who's not done yet, an actor who still has a lot to offer, someone who can really transform. And I just feel like the Academy and audiences have really kind of almost forgotten him. He's become one of those guys who used to be right on, used to be at the top and is not quite where he was. And like I said, I'm really hoping for a comeback. I thought it was going to be Fantastic Beasts, but Warner Brothers kicked him out.
Yeah.
And, Disney's not letting him back on the Pirates ride. So I don't know what's going to be. I know what's going to be. I know it's going to be Tim Burton probably who gives him a olive branch. I mean, if you know, I'm hoping, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out, man. There's definitely something there in the tank. Something's there. That's for sure. Now, for Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio, there's plenty left in the tank. I'd say he's just going full steam right now. 46 years old. His last nomination is just a couple years ago, and we're going to go down the line here and talk not just about these, but his career altogether. This is one of the things I've been waiting for on this show to be able to do. Is Leo's not my favorite actor by any stretch of the imagination, but he is one of the best to me. I think he's done a large amount of movies that he kind of lifts them up, and he's done a large amount of movies where he just fits right in. Everything's perfect and everything's clicking all cylinders. I don't think he's ever going to bring your movie down. He's one of those guys. He's just enthralling to watch. He was nominated in 1993 for What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Best Supporting Actor. He's nominated 2004 for Best Actor in a Lead Role, The Aviator. He was nominated just 2 years later, Blood Diamond, 2006, Best Actor in a Lead Role. That's obviously the same year as The Departed. They kind of had to choose, what to do there. Not that easy. I think I prefer The Departed performance a little bit more than Blood Diamond. Sometimes the accent doesn't totally work there in Blood Diamond, but he gets away with it. He was nominated for Best Actor in a Lead Role, Wolf of Wall Street, 2013. He was also a producer of that film, so he was nominated for Best Motion Picture of the Year. And then he finally got his win in 2015 for The Revenant, Best Actor in a Lead Role. And as I mentioned earlier, just a couple years ago, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Best Actor in a Lead Role nominated. So I'd say it's, a long time coming. Obviously, everybody was really happy when he finally won for The Revenant. It was like, oh my God, 20 years of greatness. How do you not give this guy his, give him his flowers while he's here? He's not nominated for the fucking Titanic, 1997. A movie that's huge in the Oscars' eyes. And that's just kind of sniffing just a small piece of his resume, It's these Oscar nominated roles. But before we get to his resume at large, I do want to ask you about these. Do you like all these performances that he's nominated for? Is there one that really stands out to you? Because I know I have one.
Yeah, I think all of these performances are fantastic. They're all Oscar worthy. I'm glad he won for The Revenant. Personally, the one I think he should have won for isn't here.
Okay.
And we'll get to that.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on Blood Diamond. South African's a hard accent to nail, but
yeah,
he did a decent job. I enjoy that movie a lot. There's definitely an argument for him to be our generation's GOAT. He's a fantastic performer, an incredible transformer. And I do think he elevates every production he's ever been a part of.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is in that group. I guess if you were to look at other people in their 40s, I guess you look at Joaquin Phoenix, or I think Leo is just in a class of his own when it comes to popularity, talent, awards, recognition, all these different things where everybody just knows who he is. And he's really good. He fucking delivers. He's not just popular because he is a very good looking guy, very handsome dude, Leo, but that's not the only reason. He's got a lot of stuff in his bag when it comes to acting. He's one of the best screamers we've ever had, where he could just go from 0 to 100, just screaming, yelling. He's one of the best at it. I love him from, his beginning, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, This Boy's Life, all the way to now. I really appreciate most of the stuff that's in there. Right off the bat, what's the movie that he should have been up for or should have won for?
He 100% deserved this award for his performance as Calvin Candy in Django Unchained.
Yeah, as Best Supporting Actor. Yeah.
That is one of the scariest performances I've ever seen. he owns every second of that film that he appears in. It is such a brilliant role, Southern dandy / complete psychopath. Just a perfect blend of an 1850s Mississippi psycho. Exactly what every plantation owner of that time would be like. And I believe the character. I believe the evil, the sadism, the smarm.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. And I can't believe he got shunned for that. Like, just what the fuck? I think it's one of, if not the most evil character Tarantino has ever written. And DiCaprio was the perfect choice for that role.
Yeah, it's always been to me either that or Hans Landa. That's one of those two kind of going at it. Yeah, totally with you. So that'd be 2012. Definitely should have been at least nominated. He's so scary in that movie. My favorite, and the one that I think he should have won for, The Revenant. He's great in The Revenant. That's totally fair to me. But I think it was a damn shame he didn't win for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As Rick Dalton, I think he did his best work ever in that movie. Not just for his Oscar nominated stuff, just period. I think he was out of his mind during that movie, and I was blown away. I think that he should have beat Joaquin. I think that Oscar is, when I look back at it, it makes no sense to me. I don't know what movie people are watching. If you stack those two together, there's one performance that's unique, and sure, it's got some stuff, but it's mostly dealing with the camera. It's where the camera is on him. Speaking about Joaquin as Joker, it's more about what's happening behind the camera to me for that performance and the decisions that are made to trust him. But Leo, every little bit he's given in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he just every single piece of dialogue, he cranks it out of the park. And he's doing what we all fall in love with acting. That's exactly what Leo's doing in that movie. And I think people just kind of missed it because they were distracted by this little bit different front runner. Oh, it's based on a superhero. It's based on a comic book, this and that. I think that's silly. I think in the long run, I think 10 years from now, people are going to be like, wait, what were we doing? Because also the rewatchability of Leo's performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is through the roof. And I've watched Joker now, I think 3 times. Yes, 3 full times. And I've seen it. It's been on TV a shit ton. It just runs through kind of like HBO and Showtime and all those channels late at night, and I'll catch some of it. And I'm just kind of like, this is a bit one note. It's a bit one note, man. I love Joaquin to death. I love his style. But that particular role, I just think it's a shame. I think we missed out on Leo's best shit yet. And that goes all the way back to, well, Leo should have won in 2012 for Django. Well, fucking Joaquin should have won for The Master in 2012 as well. So there's always these things I would change and that I just disagree with. But that was just a couple years ago. And I was kind of sad how that entire fall, that entire award season, leading up to the Oscars, people just had already penciled in Joaquin. And that's what they did with Brad Pitt for supporting actor. And I wish it was more of let's appreciate it. Let's let it breathe. I wish it was more that way. Let it be a proper race, because it never felt like a race between Joaquin and Leo, and it should have been.
Yeah, you're not going to get any arguments from me on that. I love Rick fucking Dalton.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I love this.
Lights out.
Almost has been, who's still got a lot in the tank, who's afraid of his career, his career trajectory, and just kind of having to sell himself around Hollywood, and kind of tired of the game, but also afraid to stop playing. And I love that. DiCaprio was the perfect guy. He's at the perfect age to play a character like that.
Yeah.
Tarantino consistently since Reservoir Dogs has brought out the best in his performers. I don't know how he does that, but he does it every fucking time. It's an incredible.
Because he's there. He's so present. He cares so goddamn much about everything that's happening. How could you not be like, dude, I got to be on my P's and Q's right now, because this guy he's just ready, and he's going to point to the spot where I need to be if I'm not there. he's a breed of his own. You know, Quentin Tarantino is now a father. Did you know that?
Really? That's
yes.
terrifying.
He is. Yeah, he's a child now. So he's been on a whole string of podcasts past couple weeks. Has just kind of made appearances here and there. He was on Joe Rogan's show. He's just been all over the place, just talking about his novel that coincides with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That just came out. And he's talking about that, talking about how he wants to make more novelizations of maybe some of his movies or other people's movies. So really cool. Really, he seems to be up to some really fucking cool stuff right now. And yes, he gets the very best out of his people, not just his actors, but everybody involved, the whole crew. You know, it's just definitely a set I would like to experience one day.
Well, apparently, you know, he's only got one in him. Like, so he's going out after 10.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know if you can keep that man away.
I say he'll retire for, let's say, like 5, 6, maybe a decade. But
yeah,
you know, it's going to be like when Daniel Day-Lewis retired and then Scorsese gave him Gangs of New York.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well, Leo's not going anywhere, so we know that. Know that for sure. I feel like he's going to be going for another 20 years strong, just like at a peak prime level. Let's go through them here. This Boy's Life, What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Those are both 1993. It is The Basketball Diaries, 1995. Just crazy right off the bat. 1996, he does Romeo and Juliet and Marvin's Room. 97, you got Titanic. 98, The Man in the Iron Mask. 2000, The Beach. 2002, he does Gangs of New York and Catch Me If You Can. Let's pause for a second. Leo really is, you know, through these years, he's like putting out a movie almost each year. And if he skips a year, he does 2 the next. It's really crazy. He's kind of old school in that way where he just churns them out like it's nobody's business. I've always respected how him and Brad Pitt have kind of done that. If they do like take a year off or something, then you get like 3 the next year, you know, then Brad Pitt's like, oh, okay, I'm going to be in Moneyball and The Tree of Life. So fucking deal with it. I love when guys do that. And Leo kind of stays true to that. But Gangs and Catch Me If You Can, that is a powerful one too. And working with Tom Hanks and Daniel Day-Lewis. Come on.
And, you know, Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg.
Yes, I mean, yeah. 4 giants. 4. Well, you include Leo, 5 of the biggest giants, you know, that we've ever had in cinema.
Incredible. Both of those per year, and 2 vastly different characters too. You know, Amsterdam Allen and Frank Abagnale Jr. are so different in scale that, like, to put your head in that mindset simultaneously is fucking phenomenal. I mean, you know, we forget how young this kid was when he was coming up. I mean, you know, he's like in his late 40s now, but he was, you know, in his early 20s working with some of the greatest filmmakers of all time.
Yeah, he's born in 1974. So he's 28 when he does those 2 movies. Those 2 movies come out when he's 28 fucking years old. I find it really amazing that he's born in 1974, just a monster movie year, you know. Really cool. You know, I think the stars align sometimes. 2004, The Aviator. 2006, Departed and Blood Diamond. Of course, The Departed won Best Picture. That's just crazy to be in those 2 movies. And they're not even, what's so cool about Leo is they're not these, I gotta do it to him. They're not these kind of like Chris Pratt roles where it's just like franchise, whatever. It's like original characters. It's, you know, original characters that he's doing one time and that's it. And it's just, he just kind of crushes it as Billy and then Danny Archer in these 2 movies. That's not a lot of people could have a year like that without one of them being like a superhero movie or a franchise film. He's Leo.
Well, he's one of the few actors who is a box office draw without a franchise behind him. People are just going to go see it and go like, oh, Leo's in that? Fucking sign me up. And
Yep.
I love that. Yeah. Like The Departed, I will never forgive the Academy for not throwing more performance nominations to that movie. I'll never understand why that didn't happen.
Same thing with Parasite from a couple of years ago. Wait, what? Okay, you clearly liked it. How did you not like what the people were doing in it?
And you're gonna
I never get that.
You're gonna give the film one acting nomination, and Mark Wahlberg, really?
Yeah, I love Marky Mark in that movie, but come on.
You got Leo, you got Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Martin Sheen, Vera Farmiga, Alec Baldwin, even, and Wahlberg gets it.
Yeah, tied from fucking my mother. Yeah, it's because that one scene.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
how's
not.
your father?
Maybe fuck yourself. Yeah.
God damn it. Fucking Leo. Leo skips 2007. And so he does two movies in 2008, Body of Lies and Revolutionary Road, but vastly different roles. Extremely different. One's like a just kind of action thriller, and the other one is this like hardcore drama. Really, really hardcore drama that directed by Sam Mendes. You know, it's Leo and Kate Winslet playing a couple that are kind of like splitting up. Fantastic movie. Fantastic performance. I can't believe he can do both those in 1 year.
And isn't Body of Lies, is that Ridley Scott?
Oh yeah. And it's him and Russell Crowe. Yeah, come on.
I regret to inform you, I have not yet seen Body of Lies or Revolutionary Road, but
I think Body of Lies is pretty good. I think there's some problems there, but it's entertaining as hell because Leo and Russell and Ridley Scott. So that's worth it. And Mark Strong too.
Yeah, two incredible filmmakers once again, Sam Mendes and Ridley Scott. It's just, I love that this dude has worked with so many different people. The things he's learned along the way from these guys. I mean,
and wait for this. He skips 2009. So you guessed it. He does two movies in 2010. Can you guess them?
Shutter Island.
Yep. Martin Scorsese. And Inception. Christopher fucking Nolan.
Jesus.
And Shutter Island, he's obviously right next to Mark Ruffalo, Max von Sydow's in that movie, Ben Kingsley, Michelle Williams, and Inception. At one point he's talking to fucking Michael Caine. So crazy stuff. He demands just kind of excellence when you go the expectations you have when you see these movies is I'm seeing a Leo movie.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love that he's able to command that kind of respect. But you look at the work and he's fucking earned it. Like there's nothing fake about who he is as an actor. Like he really is like one of the greatest working today. He brings a just full range of emotion and power to every role he steps into, and you believe it. Yeah. And they all stand out too. And that's the crazy part. Like I can see the difference between Teddy Daniels and fucking Cobb from Inception. I can see that they're vastly different characters. And I'll sing this guy's praises all day.
Yeah. I do have a couple challenging ones to talk about. There's one in 2011 and one in 2013. Obviously 2012 is right in between. You have maybe his strongest supporting role ever as Calvin Candy, as you pointed out, in Django. So it's okay you can kind of forgive these two. But I am not a fan of J. Edgar, Clint Eastwood's film from 2011, and I am not a fan of Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby from 2013. And I think Leo is okay in both of them. Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with the direction and style of both those movies. I think he's okay as Gatsby. And J. Edgar, a lot of the problems are like makeup and production design that are just kind of lazy. So it's not really his fault. But both movies are not that memorable to me. It's, again, not really his fault, but he's a part of it. And that's kind of sad if that's all I can find. Well, it's really kind of amazing that that's all I can find within his resume that I'm just kind of like, it's not really for me.
Well, I haven't seen J. Edgar, but I've heard issues, and I know that Clint Eastwood kind of has a recurring issue with painting more conservative real life characters with a more sympathetic lens that they might not deserve. And I have a feeling that J. Edgar goes in that direction.
It does a bit, yeah.
And The Great Gatsby, totally get it. That Baz Luhrmann is a very acquired taste, and The Great Gatsby, to kind of turn it into like a hip hop thing that's 90% production design, 10% story, and a story that's admittedly not that great anyway. I've never really understood this, affinity for that story. It's kind of not that well told.
Yeah, it's an all right novel. Yeah,
so
it's hilarious.
Just because it's a classic doesn't make it good. I have that issue with movies and with books.
Oh yeah, and music. Yeah. Always art that gets just kind of put on a throne. It's always fun to kind of see why.
Yeah, and I saw that once at the movies, and that's it. Great Gatsby. I haven't seen it since, and I don't really care to.
No, and why would you when there's a movie within the same year where he's playing like a more realistic and cooler version of Gatsby, and that's Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street. He was nominated for this one. He's a guy he's a Wall Street guy. He lives in New York, and is just like, a Gatsby I actually want to watch and like hear about because it's super entertaining. I love how those movies, even if you look at the two posters, it's just Leo at the front, just kind of standing there with the suit on. It's like the same fucking thing going on. Just one to me is a good movie, and the other one's is whatever. 3 hours Wolf of Wall Street is. It's a total jaunt. But to me, it goes by so fast, so worth it. I think there are little editing decisions, and definitely the biggest issue, and I think a lot of people would agree, is some of the soundtrack is really odd in Wolf of Wall Street. Like at one point, he's playing, I think, The Pretender by Foo Fighters, and it's showing a yacht in the middle of like, we're by New York City, and there's a yacht right here. And Foo Fighters? I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Plus, it's supposed to be the early '90s, and it just kind of confuses me. I love that movie just because it is so ridiculous. Jonah Hill is unbelievably funny. John Barenthal is unbelievable in that movie. I kind of fall in love with it more and more as I watch it. It's one of those just wacky, ridiculous movies. Like, I'm glad this was made. I'm glad Scorsese went there.
Yeah, The Wolf of Wall Street it's like Goodfellas meets American Pie. It's absolutely debaucherous as fuck. It's wild. I love it. Jordan Belfort came out and said, like, actually, it's pretty toned down compared to what we actually did.
Yeah. Oh, and it's toned down compared to what Leo used to do, his days of partying. Yeah.
I remember I probably told this story 4 or 5 times on all of these podcasts. I don't care. I went and saw Wolf of Wall Street with my friend Ellie in high school. And the very first shot of that movie is Leo snorting coke out of a hooker's ass.
Yeah.
And I was immediately like, oh, Jesus Christ. I immediately got really like, oh boy, why did I pick this movie? And then Ellie leaned over and said, holy shit, this is awesome. And I'm like, thank you. And we had a great time.
Yeah. Hell yeah. No, it's great. Brianna and I we always like, if we see that it's on TV, we just stop and kind of watch it. Cause it's fucking hilarious. I will not die sober.
The whole fucking Quaaludes, mumble drag is so perfect. It could be a short film.
Yeah. Steve Madden. Steve. Yeah, I love that movie. Could talk about it all day. He takes a little bit of a break here, and we'll start seeing this more in recent years, where I think he's getting more involved in stuff in his own life, kind of some activism type stuff, and I think he's obviously got a shit ton left in the tank, but I think he's going to start choosing more wisely and start choosing a little bit more sparse. But during the 2000s, there's just movie after movie after movie after movie. 2015, there's a 2-year break from 13 to 15. The Revenant, that's his Oscar win. This movie could, be like a fucking mini series. You really could just stretch it out because it is so gorgeous. Such a breathtaking film to kind of watch. I remember being like I was with my two brothers, and I remember just kind of us looking at each other and being like, we absolutely have to be in the theater to watch this. This is crazy. From that beginning scene where it's just battle right away, and you're like, oh my God, Game of Thrones, hold my beer, because that's when that show was really popular. And I remember just being kind of like, oh my God, this is like that shit on steroids right here. I'm watching it on a big screen. It was really cool. And then the movie kind of turns into something completely different. And then it turns into something completely different again. And you're watching Leo do some of his very best work, some of the most challenging stuff he's ever done. You're watching Tom Hardy do some of the best shit he's ever done. I really, really like The Revenant. Not the easiest one to rewatch, but that's just the type of film it is. But when you do find that time to rewatch it, it is a very rewarding movie. It'll kind of knock your socks off.
I remember working The Revenant my first time at Draft House. It was right after the Star Wars Episode 7 crowd started to peter out, so we started picking up more indie stuff. And I remember we had Joy, we had Concussion, and we had The Revenant. And running in The Revenant was insane. Just getting to like see little bits and pieces of this like intricate tapestry, not travesty, fucking moron, tapestry of a of a film. And then I finally got some downtime to watch it, and I was stunned. It felt like something Kubrick would have made. It was so like every little bit is a painting. Like it feels like Iñárritu really like drained everything he had into making this film as memorable and as intricate as possible. Just using natural light and the incredible long takes of massive battle sequences. Unbelievable. The stress level on this set must have been through the roof. But
oh yeah.
And Leo plays a larger than life, man returned from the dead almost to avenge his son. How do you not love that? And the things he put himself through, like you felt that pain, that agony. There's something so like just bitingly real about The Revenant that made it just such a badass revenge thriller. And I'm so glad Leo won for it, because you could tell he went through the fucking ringer on that. I mean, if you look at Jordan Belfort to Hugh Glass to Rick Dalton, it's 3 incredibly draining performances. So I get why he's taking, he's being a little bit more choosy. He's kind of doing, devoting a couple years to one character now, because the characters he's picking are incredibly absorbing, and you can tell.
Yeah. I think that's a huge, part of it. I think he knows like what's at stake. I think he wants to build a legacy that's special. And I think he's learned from really smart people and worked with really smart people, and is now in a place where he's able to do that. He doesn't have to just keep making money. He's done that. He had his 15 years of just work. I think now is the time to how am I going to make myself stand out in the long run? We talked about just last week, we talked about, Robert De Niro at great length, and how some of the decisions he's made later in his career, like, affect his legacy.
Yeah.
We're going to witness what Leo does in person right here. We're going to witness the steps he takes, what he does with his career. If he's going to keep challenging himself every few years, work with a guy like Tarantino, work with a guy like Alejandro Iñárritu, that I hope he takes that route. I really do.
Well, I also find it very interesting that he's kind of modeling his career after Daniel Day-Lewis in a way. If he's doing it consciously or unconsciously, it's the same trajectory, and he's doing the same kind of choosy every few years, big performances. And if that's what we're getting, if we're getting kind of a DDL influenced DiCaprio, buckle the fuck up. We are going to have a very interesting few years. I'm excited.
Yeah. Extremely excited. Definitely that's the guy you think of, Dan Day-Lewis. And maybe while they were working on Gangs in New York, he told him, "Hey, you're young now, but just wait, buddy. Wait for about 20 years, and you're going to be like, hold your horses."
True. But knowing DDL, DiCaprio heard that from Bill the Butcher. because that fucker doesn't break character for anything.
There you go. There you go. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, the Revenant is definitely, no matter which way you put it, it's one of Leo's greatest feats, you know. And the movie itself, you know, you brought up Alejandro. He's just totally in his element, you know, showing off. And he's working with his guy, Emmanuel Lubezki, as cinematographer. They did Birdman together. They did The Revenant together. Emmanuel's worked with fucking, you know, Terrence Malick to just all these crazy different kinds of directors, and is just a master of the craft. He can do The Tree of Life. He can do The Revenant, whatever you want, you know. He kind of has the full scope. That's exactly who I would choose if I could, if I were making a movie, because he can kind of handle it on his own. Super impressive movie. And then there's that 4-year gap. 4 years, and that's what DDL was doing. I mean, you know, that's what he was doing. That, like you said, that trajectory is like spot on almost. It's kind of crazy. We'll see what happens. We'll see if he does that, or if he kind of maybe goes back to churning stuff out. We'll see. But that last one it's Once Upon a Time. That's my favorite performance of his ever that I've seen. I've almost seen everything he's been in. He's just one of those guys. I think that if you love film, you can't help but kind of fall in love with him. He's spectacular, hilarious, scary, you know, physically just daunting at times, physically funny at times. In Wolf of Wall Street, don't you love that you have a husband who's in shape? Margot Robbie's like, get the fuck out of here, you know. But then there are times, you know, in The Departed, when he's just smashing a guy's head through glass. You know, he has it all. He has everything you can ask for in a guy. And one of the greats. It was about time we finally got to do this.
Oh, this is, yeah. And I doubt this will be the last time Leo comes up on this show. But this was a blast getting to just go through his career. Made me realize, like, I've still got a lot of homework to do, and I got to get on that shit.
Always. I would say, like, from that early stuff, what have you not seen? You know, Basketball Diaries, Marvin's Room. You know, you would love those, man. You got to see them. Basketball Diaries. There's a scene where I know you, and I know you're going to know when you see it. You're going to laugh your ass off, because Mark Wahlberg's also in it. You know, and they're about to play a basketball game. They're in high school, you know, and basketball is heavily involved, obviously, and they're playing, and they're taking some drugs and shit, and they think they're taking uppers, you know, before the game, but they're actually downers. Oh, and Mark Wahlberg's like, let's fucking go. I'm about to get 50 fucking rebounds. You know, he's all amped up, and then they show them on the court, and they're like barely moving. Oh, it is great. I really fell for that movie, and I like Marvin's Room a lot. I like This Boy's Life is great. Hell, Romeo and Juliet's pretty good. He's just awesome.
Seen most of Romeo and Juliet. You know, I took adolescent literature in college, and we did Romeo and Juliet, and we watched part of the Claire Danes DiCaprio movie, and I remember thinking, this is weird. Like, yeah, Baz Luhrmann, man. There's something about that dude. He assumes the entire audience is on, like, absinthe. It's fucking wild. Yeah. It's just usually not for me. He has a couple things that I've liked, but not a lot. Well, you know, there's not going to be you know, a whole lot to say about these next. I have 3 more performers. You know, they're not going to live up to what we just said about Leo, but what do you expect? First one, let's start with Juliette Lewis, who's pretty good in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. She does a decent job with what she's got. I do not think they, again, give them enough time, nor did they give any relationship enough time in this movie. But Juliette Lewis was nominated 1991, Cape Fear, Best Supporting Actress. We brought this show up just last week because we were talking about De Niro while we were talking about Awakenings and his career. One of my favorite De Niro performances, one of my favorite Nick Nolte performances, and Juliette Lewis is pretty fucking incredible, pretty spot on in this movie. And I totally understand, you know, kind of giving her this nomination and at a young age, and she has had a really interesting career, you know, has kind of dabbled in every genre you can think of, has done a lot of TV work as well. This is a cool nomination. I like it. Well, Juliette Lewis is always somebody I have kind of unconsciously been paying attention to, mainly because of her work in Tarantino's world with From Dusk Till Dawn and Natural Born Killers. So she's just kind of been on like the outskirts of my, movie attention span, but never anybody I kind of wrote off. I always knew she was a, talented actress. I just feel like I haven't seen her since the 90s. You know what I mean?
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's a totally fair point. I think the stuff she's chosen to be in is just all over the place, and a lot of TV work, a lot of random ass TV shows, and just a weird path that she's taken her career.
Yeah, true. Any significant standouts you think that I should take a look at?
As I look through her filmography, recently, I did really like her in The Act TV show that I believe was on Hulu. I thought she was really, really good in that. For movies, I'm having a hard time picking, because she's in like Old School and Starsky and Hutch and all these kind of early 2000 comedies that I'm not really recommending her performance. It really is. You look at this stuff, she's worked in some horror movies that I haven't really, or they look, I guess, kind of like more drama, thriller, fake horror, just kind of using the genre. She's in Strange Days. I've always wanted to see Strange Days with Catherine Bigelow. That's also 90s though. So yeah, man, I think you're kind of right. Post 2000s, just kind of like a lot of random ass shit.
I wonder if, after I'm completely speculating here. I haven't looked into it, but I wonder if she, maybe wouldn't play ball with certain producers. Maybe.
Yeah, it's always a possibility. Just really fucked up industry that we like to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, regrettably. Yeah, maybe, she'll feel like she's one of those actresses who's just going to kind of pop up in random shit I'd check out.
Yeah, exactly. There she is. Yeah. Whatever new HBO show you're watching, she might pop up in. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about this next performer as well. Mary Steenburgen. I've seen her in so many things, from, comedies like Step Brothers for like, what the hell, she's in Back to the Future 3, one of your favorites. All kinds of random stuff. A lot of TV shows. She's in a movie I watched not that long ago called Happiest Season. That was on Hulu, and I was like, holy shit, there's fucking Mary. She won an Oscar, and we have to bring her up. She won an Oscar in 1980 for Melvin and Howard, Best Actress in Supporting Role. I did not know that. I did not know she had won until I kind of was looking down the list, and I was like, I don't think she has anything, but sure enough, one nomination, one win. Melvin and Howard. I got to see this movie.
Yeah, me too. I've always loved Mary Steenburgen for obvious reasons. She's, significant part of Back to the Future 3. She's the school teacher that Doc saves and falls in love with. And since then, I've just always associated her face with my childhood because I have so much of myself attached to these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I love seeing her in Step Brothers. I've recently got really into Curb Your Enthusiasm, and her,
there you go. Yeah.
Her real life husband, Ted Danson, constantly pop up in that show. So that's great. Yeah. I love Mary Steenburgen, and it's so weird in this movie to see her as a straight up hoe.
Yeah. And like, we don't get anything. This is like right at the beginning of the movie in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, where we see that clearly there's an affair going on, and she's like, I need a delivery, and it's just never, they never really go into it. They never really go into how it started or why, or like what's wrong with her and her husband. What is we're just left to assume all these different things. And I kind of felt bad for Steenburgen because she's really trying to kind of give off some kind of energy that like, yeah, I'm this kind of desperate housewife or whatever. But she doesn't get enough story or background to really work with anything. Kind of sad.
I just want to say it's It's nice to hear you complain about story issues for once, because it always seems like I'm the one complaining about that shit. But this is nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with the movie being aimless in the way that you're very minimalistic and you're very, very kind of surfacey, kind of cut and dry. But when a movie kind of has like, you think about from Gilbert. Gilbert has all of his family members. There's like 5. He's got this fling going on with this woman, and her husband's onto his ass. Okay, there's 2 more people. Now there's like 7 people in his life. Then this girl comes into town. Oh, and then he has these 2 friends. That's like 10 people, but they never really give you anything. If it was just a simple movie about him and John C. Reilly hanging out, talking about how shitty it is to live in Endora, Iowa, I'm all in. I'm all in. I think less is more a lot with storytelling, and I think all you need is 2 people hanging out and just talking about whatever it is. They could be talking about the great things of life, or they could be talking about a basketball game. I'm okay with watching that. But when a movie throws its hook out like to multiple things, but never really pulls it back in, it gets weird, because this is a movie. It's 2 hours. You're not a TV show where you can just kind of tease me with the journey. This is a movie. It's 2 hours, and you didn't really fill it with the right stuff.
So you think the husband did know? Like, so I think he knew about an affair, but do you think he knew it was Gilbert?
Yeah, I think he knew when he saw the cake kind of on his lip right here, kind of messed up. She came in untucking, or tucking her stuff back in. Yeah, I think he just knew something was up between them 2. And that's why when he gave him the tip, no, you deserve it. I did kind of think that was funny.
For me, it was when he was driving just randomly past his house. It was like, I'm waiting for your call. Like,
yeah, weird.
But then when he finally did go to the office, he tried to sell him life insurance. So I'm like, did he know, or what's the deal here? And then when he got the phone call, like, he looked at Gilbert like, you bastard, but then he had him give him a ride and just didn't do anything about it. I don't know. The film doesn't let us ever have that.
Yeah, it's another issue with it. I love movies that are, I love Slacker, a movie that's just very, very basic and just passes dialogue to dialogue to dialogue, and it's just that's it. That's all you get. We're not gonna, make a big deal of it. But this movie is clearly making a deal of this, this guy Gilbert Grape, but we don't exactly get something tangible here to really hold on to. It sucks, man. Because there is really good stuff there. There are moments that are really good.
I mean, all we know for sure is that it was Mary Steenburgen that was eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, that's all we know. That's all we ever found out. Yeah, God, man. I do want to point out that Kevin Teague, he's the one who plays Mr. Carver, plays Mary Steenburgen's husband.
Yeah.
One of my favorite TV scenes of all time comes in Lost. And Kevin Teague, at one point, and if you're a Lost fan, you if you know, he says, it's a little hot for heaven, ain't it? One of my favorite bits of dialogue from the entire series. It gives me chills. Just like when I see him, that's what I think about. And he's just like a daunting character on that show, and pops up again and again, in flashbacks and flash forwards, and Lost just gets fucking insane. But that's that particular scene when he's talking about the island, and he's like, where the fuck do you think you are? And there's just confusion. It's a little hot for heaven, ain't it? Oh man, you're in hell, bitch.
Kevin Teague became one of my favorite character actors because of Lost. His the whole subplot with Locke and his dad was my favorite flashback subplot. I looked forward to that every time. And then the whole bit with Sawyer, like, are you fucking kidding me? I went insane. I was like, holy shit, I never made that connection. Then I'm like, what? Like, oh. And now I want to watch Lost again.
Chills. Yeah. Some of the stuff in Lost is pure genius. And some of it is like a dog wrote it. Like, it's just like, what was that? It really is. It's one of the few shows where I'm just like, holy shit. There are episodes I hate, and there are episodes where I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. and every time Kevin Teague, like you said, the stuff with Locke and Sawyer, good Lord, the con man stuff, just like, fuck. It really kind of hurts my brain, and it makes me want to unfold that storyline of Lost again. I love it. Kevin Teague, no Oscar nominations. So, but it's always good to shout him out, especially his Lost stuff. But the last guy, this is one of our guys. We love this man. And it's John C. Reilly, a actor's actor, a dude who has it all, and has always had it. People have just kind of missed it, I think, for a long time. He was nominated for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Chicago, 2002. But there's so much to this guy's resume. He's proved he could do stuff like this. In Gilbert Grape. He works with Paul Thomas Anderson early on, Hard Eight and Magnolia. And then he, creates this chemistry with Will Ferrell that's just unstoppable. Step Brothers and Talladega Nights. And he's done these little things that are just kind of like, it feels like he's doing it for the fans. There's these roles that he takes that feel like you really care about what people think of you as an actor. And I love that so much. These things that he does, like Walk Hard. Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. I'm so glad he chose to be in that. The Sisters Brothers. God, Sisters Brothers is super underrated. Awesome movie. I love that he does these things. He's my favorite part of Kong Skull Island. I think he's fucking hilarious in that, acting alongside, like Brie Larson at some points, and he's just kind of stealing the show. It's crazy. I love this guy. Of course, my favorite role is what he does in Magnolia. It's my favorite thing he's ever done. But he's damn good at What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He does not get a lot to chew on, and he does a damn good job. There's just a little scene where it's him and Johnny Depp, and they're kind of sitting on the porch talking about stuff, and he just has something in him. Just the way he kind of takes his hat off and sets it down on the porch is like, oh, this guy's from Iowa. And it was really beautiful to watch. That was one of my silver linings while watching this movie, was John C. has got it.
I'd argue there's few actors in Hollywood with the level of range that John C. Reilly has, that he can do drama and comedy and everything in between is really incredible. And you believe it every time. The first time I ever saw him was Talladega Nights. That was the first. I'm a little confused by your tactics. Like, just perfect, like dumbass. And then I had only really known him as a comedic actor, and I watched Walk Hard and Step Brothers, and I'm like, this guy's hilarious. And then through you, really, I got to see his work with Paul Thomas Anderson, and I'm like, holy shit, there's a whole nother side to this guy I never knew about. And I love that. It's amazing. And then, to see him pop up in something like this was just gravy.
Yeah, exactly. You're always rewarded when you see him on the screen. It's like, okay, cool. At least this is going to be working. This guy's going to work. The little bits he's in Gangs of New York, fantastic. He's good in The Aviator. I completely forgot he was in that, but good Lord, he's good. Step Brothers, Jesus. There's not a lot of movies that are like through and through comedies that are just made to make me laugh, that really do that. A lot of them, I think, lack something. I think it always helps to kind of build a story first, then make comedy out of that. But Step Brothers is like just attacking all senses, and it's beautiful. I think it's a comedic kind of masterpiece. One of the best from the past 20 years for sure. I really, really respect what those two are doing in that movie, because it's like a lot of improv. It's a lot of just kind of figuring it out as they go. And Adam McKay totally trusting those two to just be them and just put them in a place to just knock it out of the park. Love Step Brothers. Will Ferrell will be remembered better as time goes on, but not for me personally. John C. is the fucking man. He's right there with him.
Yeah, their chemistry is what makes Step Brothers so damn funny. If it was anybody else, it wouldn't be as good as it is. But they're both so good as 40-year-old man children who never moved on.
Yeah,
It's
it's perfect.
when I was visiting Caleb in Bremerton, we watched Step Brothers just to kind of cool off after, a day of fucking horror movies and, hot as shit heat. So we watched Step Brothers and we're like just laughing our asses off. It's such a perfect movie. It's so, so funny. I haven't reviewed it yet, but it is a 10.
Oh, hell yeah. I love to hear that. So good. John C. Anytime we get to bring him up, we will. Now I got two crew members I want to briefly go through before we'll kind of skim through the 66th Academy Awards, look at Leo's supporting category, and then we'll do our awards for Gilbert Grape. But Sven Nykvist, he's the cinematographer on Gilbert Grape. It's interested to see that he has 3 nominations and 2 wins for Best Cinematography.
Oh.
He won in 1972 for Cries and Whispers. He won in 1982 for Fanny and Alexander, and he was nominated in 1988 for The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
Oh.
So, yeah, really interesting. And I thought that, while the direction to me isn't great, there are some shots here that are fucking awesome, and it's like some of the stuff I live for. There's specifically my favorite shot of the movie is when Juliette Lewis, Johnny Depp, and Leo are all at that kind of pond, and Leo's up in the tree, and there's just a shot from behind them that is just fucking gorgeous, and the sunset is happening. They captured all at the perfect time. Very mid-America, just kind of like appreciate the landscape we have. Very cool. There's stuff here in this movie that's awesome, but really impressive resume. 2 wins on 3 nominations is rare.
Well, this guy goes back to 1943. I mean, this guy had a hell of 133 cinematography credits. That's amazing.
Crazy.
1922. Like, shit.
Yeah, died in 2006, so he lived 83 years and just seemed to be working kind of nonstop.
Yeah, he did Chaplin, Sleepless in Seattle. This guy was somebody else. Autumn Sonata.
Jeez. Yeah, I love Autumn Sonata. Yeah, I'm looking here. This is a lot of shit. Good heavens. This is partly why we do it. We get to talk about Leo, and we also get to learn about Sven Nykvist and get to kind of know what we're going into, say, when we watch, Fanny and Alexander. We have a little bit more of nugget of knowledge before watching a movie. So I love doing that. Last person here would be the film editor, Andrew Monsheen. In my opinion, not the best stuff here in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I think a lot of this movie is like, all right, someone didn't know how to kind of make this cut to be interesting. Yeah. But he was nominated for Best Film Editing once in his career, and that was for The Sixth Fucking Sense in 1999. So he got a little bit better over those 6 years.
Well, yeah, I'd say. I mean, last year, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. That's him too.
There you go. Yeah, still trying to do things. You got to love that. He did American Made with in The Mummy, Tom Cruise, Blindsided, Safe Haven,
Chocolat,
Casanova, Analyze That, Chocolat, yeah, Lost Soul, Sixth Sense, Wide Awake. Really wacky career. What's Eating Gilbert Grape all the way at the beginning. Yeah, I didn't think the fine tuning of What's Eating Gilbert Grape was that good. There's stuff that should be cut, or they should have just worked on the fleshing out the characters more. There's something missing.
Yeah, there is. I think that this is based on a novel by Peter Hedges, and I don't know if the novel is more compelling or has he had to cut a lot to make this fit into a screenplay time, but I just don't think that I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't what is attaching me to Gilbert Grape? Why do I care about this guy's life? and his circumstances. Why am I watching this? I don't feel anything really towards this guy. I'm like, yeah, cut your losses. Get the fuck out of there. Like your older brother did it too. Like he did it. So why, like what's holding you back? You have a fat mom?
Yeah, okay.
Let it go, man.
Yeah. Okay. This is great. This is exactly what I thought about when I was watching it, is okay. I normally, even on this show, I point out Little Miss Sunshine earlier, Five Easy Pieces. Like these are my kind of movies, are like slow burning, everyday life, just kind of going through it. But like what those movies have, or what I'm always able to point to, is just something I like about it. And there's not anything in this movie that I gravitate towards. And like you're saying, they don't really give you that. They don't really give you an opportunity to grab that. You're just kind of forced to be like, oh, well, Leo's really good. Okay, but why? Or, like, what is it? Is this character that compelling? No, actually, they don't really go into it. I would have liked a scene where it was just him from his perspective, where it's just Arnie hanging out. Too many times it was he's just screaming his brother's name. He's just screaming Gilbert at times. And it's like, okay, you're not ever giving anybody anything. And therefore it falls flat on multiple fronts. And then it gets frustrating. And that's kind of the difference in a lot of other simple movies that I think are successful, is because they just simply give you something. Like Five Easy Pieces. You're really, really intrigued about what Jack's going to do next. Is he going to just leave this girl? Is he about to get in that truck and just fucking move on? And we're not going to see where he goes next. It doesn't matter because it's a 2-hour movie. But while you're in it, you're really interested in how he's treating people and what he's going to do next. And like, that's all you need. Every other little thing is just a part of the journey. In Little Miss Sunshine, everybody is fucking hilarious. Greg Kinnear, Toni Collette, Alan Arkin, Paul Dano, Abigail Breslin, they're all amazing. So that's why it's good. This movie doesn't have any of those things. So it gets like a firm 7 because it's just average to me. I do recommend it just on like, check this out. It's, it's an interesting 90s thing with these people that are involved. But as a movie, if you're just a person who, no, I just want to see a good movie, I would steer clear.
Yeah, it's fundamental to understanding the trajectory of Leo and Depp's careers. But
yeah,
as a film, I really think that Gilbert is his own worst enemy. He's making up his own problems here. I mean, family could easily take care of Arnie while he goes and finds himself. There's no reason that can't happen. Mom is fat. Okay. She can still do shit. She can get in a car and go get Arnie out of jail. Like, there's no reason he needs to be the only one this family depends on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird when a movie that claims somebody's stuck in life also shows you that the reason he's stuck is because it's his own damn fault. Like he's making his own problems up here. I don't know. Yeah,
and it never really. And that's where you could go into a thing with John C. Reilly and him. Dude, like you have the option, you have the ability to leave. And maybe he's, maybe they go into something where he's like, I don't have the courage, or I don't have this, I don't have that. But they don't. They continuously just kind of like, here, that's frustrating with a movie that's trying to be simple and it just overbears itself. It's a tad frustrating. And I don't think, I guess I agree with the Academy on this specific case. Leo probably is the only person I would recognize with like with an award, with a nomination.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So let's take a look at this Oscars and who Leo was up against that year.
Yeah, 66th Academy Awards. This is Tommy Lee Jones' win for The Fugitive. Awesome fucking movie. Leo's up for What's Eating Gilbert Grape as Arnie Grape. Ralph Fiennes is up for playing Amon Golf in Schindler's List. Crazy movie. It's obviously going to be a really intense Best Picture showdown one day. Who knows when that'll happen, but it will one day because this show won't stop. John Malkovich for In the Line of Fire, playing Mitch Leary, and Pete Postlethwaite for In the Name of the Father as Giuseppe Conlon. these guys are great. This is a really cool group. I have not seen In the Line of Fire, which is sad. I got to see that one day. But these other four, really, really cool performances. I think Tommy Lee, I think it's totally fair to give it to him. I think you could have gone with Rafe. But personally, Pete Postlewaite's performance is just bonkers. He's so damn good. It would have been cool to see him and DDL win. But Tom Hanks is also really good in Philadelphia, so can't really argue.
I've only seen The Fugitive and Gilbert Grape. Schindler's List I've been putting off for years. And I own In the Line of Fire. I just haven't watched it. And
yeah, dude, I got to see that.
Yeah. In the Name of the Father's one I've heard is fantastic. I always liked Pete Postlewaite.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's like so scary with just the way he just looks at you. He doesn't really need any words.
Do you think Leo would have been as committed to exploring himself as an actor if he'd won an Oscar at 19 years old?
That's an excellent question. I don't know. That's a really good question. If would the trajectory be different? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say with that. He got that break with, like, really got a break with Romeo and Juliet and then Titanic. And it seemed like there was on his part, there was an effort to say, no, I am not going to be just this kind of pretty boy in these monster movies. I think I want to combine that with what I was doing in Gilbert Grape and Basketball Diaries and, those films that are really dramatic and really challenging. It seems like everything just aligned perfectly for him, where he was able to kind of got to try it all in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then in the 2000s, he was like, I'm going to just work my ass off. I'm going to do as many good roles as I can. And then now in the 2010s, we've seen him slow down and pick and choose and be more methodical. He's really kind of got to do what he wants. But I do think that him getting the early nomination, like you said, at 19, there's got to be a hunger that happens after that. I want this again. I want this again, and I want to do this again. I want to be recognized with those guys. To lose to Tommy Lee Jones, to be next to Ralph Fiennes and John Malkovich, and Pete Postlewaite, like, that's crazy. That's got to be at 19. That's got to be invigorating. I got to keep going. There's got to be something like that. And it was over 10 years before he got there again with The Aviator. Really amazing that it took that long to get back. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. And I think he's got to be grateful for the way things have lied for him.
I imagine so. I mean, he's, one of the most respected actors in Hollywood today. He's banging supermodels left and right. He's helping save the environment. I'd say he's doing just fine.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah. he kind of does what he wants, the man. Leo DiCaprio, one of the greatest. Now, with this particular ceremony, the 66th Academy Awards, obviously this is all we have to talk about. But is there a movie from this? Because there's one for me. Is there one from this ceremony that you're like, I have to get to this? And not Schindler's List, not the obvious answer.
Yeah. Honestly, I've always wanted to see What's Love Got to Do with It.
Dude, yeah, you'd love that. Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne both got nominated too.
Story by Cantina, come on.
Yeah, so cool. So cool.
Yeah. That's one I'd love to see. In the Name of the Father is one I'd love to check out. Remains of the Day. I know I'd love that. I love.
Yeah, I've never seen that one either.
The Age of Innocence, so I can cross off, on my Scorsese list.
Yeah, I just got a Criterion edition of that one not that long ago. I'll let you borrow it one day. Yeah,
very, very nice.
Great movie. Yeah.
What are yours?
Oh, it's Shortcuts by a mile. that's the movie I had chosen to do for this year, because the only nomination it got was Robert Altman for Best Director. It's a 3-hour movie about people's lives intersecting in California. Kind of sounds like my favorite movie of all time, Magnolia. Robert Altman's a huge influence on Paul Thomas Anderson. And Shortcuts, you literally have to get it on DVD, is what we found out. It's not available to rent or like stream or whatever. So you kind of have to buy the Criterion. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to do it was because, of course, it's seen as this movie that came 6 years before Magnolia and is kind of like the predecessor. And there's also people in it like Julianne Moore that are also in Magnolia. I just got to see it. Andy McDowell, Julianne Moore, Tim Robbins, Jack Lemmon, Annie Archer, Fred Ward, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Chris Penn, Robert Downey Jr., Lily Taylor, Tom fucking Waits, Frances McDormand, Huey Lewis. It's just crazy. This cast list is insane. It's 3 hours. I love movies that are super long and super kind of like ambitious, and it actually pays off. So I always want to know if that 3 hours was worth it. And it just, the IMDb plot synopsis is literally the day-to-day lives of several suburban Los Angeles residents. That's my kind of shit. That's why I'm disappointed with the movie like What's Eating Gilbert Grape, because it's so easy to please me. You just got to give me some people meandering about without putting your hook out there and not bringing it back. That's all I ask. I got to see this movie. I'm on the hunt. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to own it, and I cannot wait to check it out. That's by a long ways the 1993 movie that I need to see. But I haven't seen, The Piano, Jane Campion. She's nominated for Best Director. Thought about doing that movie. It's also up for Best Picture. I just feel as though there is going to come a time when we do this showdown and we're going to watch Schindler's List, The Fugitive, In the Name of the Father, The Piano, and The Remains of the Day. And it's going to be a gritty ass week. And that the time will come for that. But it will be very exciting to come back around to this ceremony with stuff we have a lot more to say about passionately, because What's in Gilbert Grape just didn't totally do it for us. So let's go ahead and give it some awards and get the hell out of here, man.
I won't say I'm disappointed we couldn't get Shortcuts, but I do feel bad that you couldn't watch it. And this ended up being a, silver medal movie. So
yeah. It was mostly about being able to have that Leo discussion. Very, very glad you got to see it for the first time, this movie. And I'm very glad we got to bring up Leo by using this 90s movie, his first nomination, all that jazz. That was a lot of fun. But our awards, man, we have this was hard. Not hard in the way that, oh man, like Rear Window, there's so many things to choose from. This was like, oh man, what do I choose? Because it just kind of monotone throughout. So we have the Tarantino Award for Best Quote or Best Line. We have the Ennio Morricone Award for Best Music Moment. We have the Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for Best Performance of the movie. And we have the Roger Deakins Award for Best Scene of the movie. So, Connor, I'll let you take it away with your Tarantino.
This was tough. Dialogue isn't exactly this film's strong suit.
No.
So I ended up getting a little exchange just because it was a nice throwback. It was at Arnie's party. Becky, I don't even remember the situation. This movie did not stick very well.
No.
Becky does something for Gilbert and Arnie, and Gilbert says, I don't know what to say. And Arnie from back there just goes, say thank you, Gilbert. Say thank you. Because he's always saying to Arnie, what do you say? And nice little throwback. So that was why I picked that.
That is cool. Yeah. That is like a nice little layer in the film. I definitely know exactly what you're talking about. But that's, we both are from the same boat where it just kind of, there's no moment in the movie that just steals it.
Yeah.
There's no like speech. There's no this or that. There's no scene where two people are just screaming at each other. It never really happens. So I also went kind of had to get a little bit creative. And I chose kind of like a piece of what Leo's saying at one point and kind of what's happening around it. And that would be Arnie. It's pretty dark, but I had to get creative. Had to search for something that kind of spoke to me just as an audience member. And that was when they're all having dinner and Arnie is screaming over and over, "Dad's dead, Dad's dead, Dad's dead." Yeah. And the mom is just screaming, "Stop him, stop him." And, Leo's performance is a lot of repetition. It's a lot of saying the same thing over and over. And with that kind of like, that's the thing they were using. This was the most effective way of doing it, right? Was there's clearly this pent up like aggression and sadness and depression in Arnie, and he's not getting the proper attention at all to really deal with any of these things. So he's just screaming and laughing about this thing that they all have no real way to like process. It's very clear that they all need to go to therapy. And it kind of sucks. And that moment was really kind of sad and kind of, it hit me. It made me kind of emotional. And I think that's what the movie's trying to do at some point. So for that, I applaud it for that moment when they're having dinner. And it's so sad because they have to, the kids have to lift the table up and over to the mom while she's on the couch so they can all eat together. So it's just this kind of like, wow, how kind of sad this is, this setting, this house, this scene,
Yeah.
Just tough stuff. And it did hit me, did impact me that moment.
That wasn't a fat suit, right? She was 575 pounds.
Yeah, no, it's real. Yeah.
Good God. Yeah, I get why you picked that. That's one of the few kind of emotionally cathartic moments this film has. It should have had a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this could have been like a crazy intense, just like punch you in the face kind of drama, but it just doesn't really do that often. I love those movies.
So do I.
I love dramas that just punch you right in the gut, and this movie does a couple times, but not enough. Not enough.
Nope.
And this next award was the hardest for me to choose because I think the score is so goddamn weak, and it mismatches the film like over and over. There's times where something like is supposed to be sad, and it's like do 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 do, just kind of jolly, easy, fucking like adventure music. Just kind of stupid. So I again got creative with the Ennio Morricone award. But how about you?
I did have one, but then I thought, well, that kind of is exactly the same thing I picked for my best scene, so I should probably separate that. So I chose a little bit of score that I thought was tolerable. It's the little bit
Passable.
It's a little bit of piano that's playing when Arnie finds his dead mom, and he's screaming at her, and then the piano kicks in, and you're like, oh shit, we have a genuinely sad moment here. And then he goes and screams out, outside, and then they're all gathering around mom's body. And I liked the little bit of score that was playing there. It was subtle, but enough to kind of, poke at your heartstrings there.
Yeah. That's fair. I do remember that moment also being, okay, Leo's kind of doing some cool stuff here. He's showing off some of his talent, just kind of immersing himself into this moment. I'm curious now because I chose the Ennio to go to when Gilbert is singing to Arnie while Arnie's on the water tower. He grabs the megaphone. I know a boy named Arnie. And he's just, he kind of is looking around. Johnny Depp does a good job right there. He's kind of like, fuck, I got to do this. I got to do this weird ass shit so my brother will get down from there, And I thought that moment was kind of cool. He gets him to come down eventually, and then the cops are like, "Come on, Gilbert, that's the last fucking time," Okay. And he's like, "Well, all right, that is the last time." He's like, "You said that last time." That bit I thought was decent. That was a decent little piece, and I think Johnny Depp, some of his best stuff in the whole movie.
I think that if, this is clearly a known problem that Arnie is climbing up this water tower like every day. You'd think that the city would have maybe put a fence there or something. But I don't know. I feel like if it happens more than like 5 times, it's on the city to make it stop.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's time. Yeah. God.
That's an interesting choice.
I thought it was kind of cute, in its own way. And he also says something real cool. It could have been the Tarantino for me as well. As, like Johnny Depp, very, very subtly, very, very authentic. He says, "Come on down, buddy." After singing that, he's like, "I know a boy named Arnie. He's 18 and having a party." Just he doesn't know what to do, and he's like, "Come on down, buddy." It's very like, I'm freaked out, but if I freak out, he's gonna freak out. And we've all been in some kind of situation like that. Yeah. And those are those little things that this movie has going for it. But that's what the great simple movies like this, everyday kind of movies like this hone in on. They hone in on that shit and don't let go. They stay on the gas and do that over and over and over. This movie just has it in snippets.
Yeah, regrettably. Like, there's pieces of a really refined, memorable drama in this movie. There's pieces of it, but it's overshadowed by all the monotony. And that's
damn shame. I think I know where we're going with the PSH. What do you got?
It's Leo.
Yeah, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah,
but not for the right reasons though. It's for me, it's Leo because everyone else is phoning it the fuck in.
Yeah, he's not going against a ton of competition here. I would say, I guess Johnny Depp would be second, then John C. Reilly. But there's not a whole lot of like crazy competition here within the movie. These people are great on their own, in their own right. But in the movie, I think Leo he's playing the character that, has some mental issues, and that's always, it's always going to be captivating to watch someone, whether it be, Dustin Hoffman and Rain Man, or this, you're just always going to be blown away by someone kind of pushing that physical, or, Robert De Niro in Awakenings, or, Daniel Day-Lewis in My Left Foot. Watching these people do something that is physically like way different than what they do in their normal lives, it is always going to be incredible to witness and incredible to watch. And with Leo, he does a pretty damn good job at times. There are moments where you're kind of like, oh my God, just this Arnie character. At one point he looks over to Juliette Lewis and he's like, I could go at any time, He just, it's like brutally sad, the stuff that comes out of his mouth. And he's asked to do a lot here. And again, I think with a stronger screenplay, all these people could have shined more. Stronger sense of direction could have shined more. So this is just kind of easily Leo's award.
Well, I think that, we see with like all the actors and performances you just mentioned, Dustin Hoffman, De Niro, there's a certain balance you have to reach where you don't come off as offensive, but you also don't try hard enough. You have to, playing somebody who has a mental handicap is probably the most difficult thing you can do as an actor, because you really need to find that sweet spot where you don't come off as an asshole. And DiCaprio pulled that off. Somehow he found, at 19 years old, he found this medium that worked, that still works to this day. No one's ever called him on his insensitive performance, Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it definitely has lasted, Yeah. Just the rest of the movie, I just don't think has aged as well. I don't know how to really choose this last one. I had such a hard time because there's, again, snippets that are decent, but overall scene, the Roger Deakins Award is supposed to be for something that just takes you completely away, knocks you on your ass. What'd you go with?
I went with a scene that made me laugh because it caught me off guard, and I thought, you don't get more small town America than this right here. And it's during the funeral of, I believe it's
Kevin Teague's character, Mr. Carver. Yeah.
During the funeral, a fucking Burger Barn drives past the funeral, and Arnie's going, Burger Barn. And John C. Reilly's like, hey. And suddenly no one gives a fuck about the funeral because the new restaurant is driving through town.
Crazy. Yeah, that is a brilliant piece of the movie. That's actually the first thing I wrote down. Before I left for work today, I wrote down Burger Barn coming into town during funeral. And I was like, that completely took me. I was like, wait, what? It took me by surprise. It totally describes America. Not just small town, but just people, how people operate.
Yeah. And
it is fascinating. But there was a bit that I kind of forgot about. And then I was thinking about the movie today while I was at work. And I was like, oh, why? I reacted to that while it was happening. So I think I'm going to write that down instead. And I'm glad I did, because I'm glad you chose the Burger Barn scene. I chose the scene when the Grape family, they're all kind of at home, and it's just kind of like just normal night for them. And the sister makes, I think her name's Amy. She makes the birthday cake, and she takes all this time to, form. It's like this, rounds, like kind of small, like maybe 8-inch, 10-inch cake. It's not huge, but it's like she's put a lot of work into it, and she's holding it, and Arnie's running up and down through the house, and he fucking knocks it out of her hand, and it falls over and just is ruined. Just fucking ruined. And I put my hands on my head when that happened. I just went, oh shit, like fuck, because you can't get mad at him. Like as mad as you want to be at him, it's like you can't. He's a little bit out of control, and you're just like, you want to scream at him, but you're also like, fuck, that cake was for you, man. It's for your birthday. And then that's when Johnny Gilbert finally goes to Foodland and he buys a cake from the bakery and then takes it home. And Arnie's like, what's in the box? What's in the box? Don't fucking touch what's in here. And Gilbert puts it in the fridge, looks away. Right behind Arnie goes back and starts fucking put his fucking hands and fingers all over the cake. And it's just, I really reacted to that scene. I appreciated that scene where I could feel myself in the living room, just kind of like, fuck, it's just frantic as hell. I could feel that part. So hats off to that scene. And again, the Burger Barn one, those two to me, I will actually think about those moments where it just kind of was a set piece on like American life, and those things I do appreciate.
My favorite thing about the whole cake situation was after Gilbert leaves Foodland with the cake, immediately runs into his boss.
Yeah.
The boss is like, oh, how could you?
Yeah.
Felt like
So
something
good.
Larry David would do on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Just like, really?
Yeah. And he's like, well, what are you doing driving around here? Just looking for you, Yeah, just making sure you're not here. Fucking Larry David. Yeah. It's a 7. I think we've shit on this movie a little bit, but we also have praised it in the right spots. I think we're both just frustrated when a movie has the pieces and it doesn't quite all add up. But next week we're fixing that real quick. We've got one that we both seen, that we both love, and it's from 1998, and it's called The Truman Show. Oh man, I can't wait to do this film. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I feel pretty sure about this one. This is Peter Weir. Love Peter Weir. Andrew Niccol writing the screenplay. Jim Carrey, Ed Harris, Laura Linney. Awesome cast. Awesome stuff going on all around, and a kind of mindfuck of a movie. So I'm really excited to dive into this with a new perspective. And I feel very confident that the outcome will be better than What's Eating Gilbert Grape as far as rewatching something for myself.
Yeah, no doubt. I've been looking forward to this one for a few weeks now. It's one I've been wanting to revisit for a long time. I bought it at Half Price Books for like $2, and I was like, sweet. And yeah, I think next week's going to be a blast.
I agree. It was nominated 3 times at the 71st Academy Awards. Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Ed Harris, Best Director for Peter Weir, and Best Screenplay for Andrew Niccol. It's a damn shame Jim Carrey's not there, but we will talk about that next week.
Oh, I've got a lot of things to say about Jim Carrey and the Oscars.
Me too. Definitely a guy we both really, really dig. But I know tomorrow on Sneak Preview, we got a big one. Tell the people what's happening.
Sneak preview. We finally get a Marvel movie. It's
Yes.
COVID pushed them all by a long while. Black Widow is finally out, and we are going to be covering it, me and Caleb, in its entirety on tomorrow's Sneak Preview, as well as the second installment of Netflix's Fear Street trilogy. So that'll be your weirdo double feature for Sneak Preview. And then on Wednesday's Filmgazm, Caleb and I are tackling the 1990 cult classic Tremors. So
Let's go.
It's going to be a fun fucking week.
Yeah, dude. Super excited. You get to finish it off next weekend with The Truman Show.
I can't wait. Thanks so much for bearing with us for this lukewarm 90s drama. We promise next week's movie is better.
Yeah, for sure. What I do appreciate about you, Connor, is that we felt the same way about this movie, but we did not let it get us down. We got to talk about Leo. We got to talk about Johnny Depp. We got to talk about Lucas Hedges and his dad, Peter Hedges. You know, I ended up having a lot of fun. That's what the show kind of creates, is this conversation about a bunch of different things and not just the one movie. And that's sometimes the most fun part. And today, I think that's you and I were having a blast with Leo. And sometimes that's the best part of a whole episode for us.
Oh yeah. You know, before we did Oscar Sunday, like we've done, we're nearing 150 Filmgazm episodes. If we couldn't find the silver lining of a shitty movie, none of this would work.
Exactly. It's always about holding on to, your integrity with how you perceive a movie, while also being open to, hey, it might have had a few good things about it. I love being able to balance the two. It's a lot of fun. But like you said, next week, that's not necessary because it's the Truman Show.
And then the week after that is our Best Picture showdown, and we'll have more about that next week.
Yes, sir. Definitely going to be in the 90s.
Very exciting. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and keep watching movies.